Only time I didn't bring a hat, but here we are hatless. Hey, so we're back here at the new property. Again, Tanglewood is just over there across the stream. You might be able to see from where you are some of the roofs. But this is the much bigger part. We've got 10 acres, 4 hectares over there. This is 11 hectares, 27 acres. And we have been building swales and planting trees for the last month. There's been a lot of progress since we were last here. So I'll show you some of the things. One of the things we've done right here is along the property line, we've planted a whole bunch of coconut palms. So it's going to take them about 5 to 6 years to start bearing fruit. But there'll be a whole line of them here marching down the property. Let's head over this way and take a look. So a lot's happened since you were here, and we'll take a look down here in just a moment. But if we look right over here, there's an old structure here. We call this a rancho here. It's just a crude structure, posts, in this case a metal roof. But one of the things we're doing here, as you can see, first of all, we've guttered this old roof. It's just a temporary thing. We've got a tank that we already had sitting here. It's not a very big one, but we're going to fill that up. And we have started work here on a water tank. So what we're going to do here is we're going to build a new rancho. But instead of building it at grade, because there's a slope here, if we build it at grade, we're going to be constantly having to clean the floor, etc. And to give us a little bit more view, we're actually going to build the new rancho with a floor that's 1 meter above the ground with stairs to get into it. But what we're doing is we're building down 2 meters first. We're digging down, and then we're going to come up 1 meter. So there's going to be a water tank that's 3 meters deep. You can see the length and width. That's actually going to be the dimension of the new rancho when we're done. That will be the floor of the rancho, basically. At the top of the tank, a concrete top, will be the floor of the rancho. We may then tile it. Probably we'll tile it. There'll be stairs to get up on one side, maybe right here. I'm not sure. And when we build the new roof, we'll rebuild the whole structure. When we do that, it'll be much higher. The roof will be, this wouldn't work anyway for us. It's way too low, the roof. But we'll build something up much higher so we have visibility, especially with a meter high floor. And then the entire roof will be guttered so that we can store that water in this tank underneath the floor. And the size was determined based on the average amount of rainfall per year. Every single drop of rain off this roof should fit into this tank. So we have 7 months of storage space in here, and that should allow us enough water to water all of the things that we're planting here. Of course, it won't be the only thing we're doing. We're also building 2 ponds down here, and this tank, of course, is temporary. Once this is done, the tank disappears, and we build the new rancho, and the water goes in from the roof directly into the tank below. So this will be beautiful. This may be a year before we're done with this because it's not an imminent project. Right now the idea is just to create the water storage. That'll happen right away, but the new rancho may be a while yet. Okay, so let's come on over here. Okay, so here we are. From here, we've got a great view of some of the work we're doing here. Now again, the last time we were here, you could see these swales. You can see the progress since then. We've resculpted some of them a little bit, probably not as much as we need to, but some of that's happened. You can now see that there's a line of trees which are mostly okay. I see 1 or 2 that look like they're not as happy as they could be. We've planted peanut grass on top of the swales. That will eventually cover the entire swale. And then you can see those are pineapple plants between the trees. And you can see the same thing. All the swales have trees every 3 meters or so, depending on the size of the tree. Some of them are further apart if they're bigger trees. Up here, up top, we started by planting relatively small trees because we want to have a view from the rancho. So we're going to be able to see right over these trees. And then as we go down further, the trees will get larger. But you can see trees, peanut grass with the yellow flowers, and then pineapples on the swales going down, even all the way down there. And we've got, what, 5 or 6 swales going down the hill here. And then you can see over here, there's another swale here, another set of swales on the other side. There's a break in between. Why? Because there's going to be a path that goes up there, and there's going to be a path that comes up in here as well. Now this one's going to be interesting because what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a big pond in this depression here. And that means taking a lot of the soil here, down in here, opening it up more, and moving it to this end to create a huge dam. It's going to have to be really, really wide to sustain the water pressure. But eventually there'll be a big pond in there, and then another one at the bottom. On the other side of that tree, this same ravine goes down, and we'll continue to collect water into that space, and it'll empty into another pond on the other side of the tree. And then at the bottom, of course, there's the stream down there. But you can see how this one is full of water down there and the other ones have water in them. The soil here has a high clay content, and that means it holds a lot of water. Now that's not the best situation. What we want is for that water to filter into the ground, because the idea is we collect the rainwater so it doesn't all run into the stream right away when it hits the ground. Instead, it goes into the swale, and then the rain from this next little piece goes into the swale. And you can see each of these swales, it fills up. Some of them still have some water, some of them have already drained, because it's now been, what, probably 12 or more hours since the last rain. But by doing it this way, all the trees wind up having ample water getting to their root systems. And then there's another set of swales over there, and we started to build yet another set on the other side. And that's probably, it's that last set, that's probably going to finish us off for this year. You can see there's still a bunch of trees over there waiting to be planted. We have already planted probably 200 or more trees so far this year, and we're going to try to get another 50 or so in the ground before we give up and stop, because as we get too close to the dry season, it's just going to be more work keeping them hydrated. But this sort of gives you a sense. There's going to be a path that comes around and comes up this side to here. There'll be another path that comes up here in the center along this pond, around the pond on one side. There'll be another trail over there, another one over there, one along the bottom that goes all the way around. And again, this property goes past that field way to the other side, over that way. There's another open field over there. So there's lots of land here that we still have to work with. But here you can get a sort of a sense of what we're after. And there's a possibility of doing a little bit of building over there at some point, as well as a rancho which will sit way up on top, you can't even see from here, with amazing views overlooking Tanglewood. It's so much higher than we are. Cool stuff. I'm excited about this. So here we are overlooking the first pond, and there's no pond yet, but this is where we're going to create the pond. Actually, there could be water just below us, but it won't come up so high. There'll be high banks, and then the water level will probably be just below that shrubby thing is over there, and we'll build the sides up on that end to enclose it. It'll have to be below the swale right there. So it'll be that area, this area in here too. Right, if this is full of water, we can stick a hose in it and put it into the swale down below, and once you get it started, it'll just pull the water out, and then we can move it to the next swale, and we can keep everything getting watered that way through the dry season, should we need it. Now, once it's established, once it's gone through one or two rainy seasons really, to build up the water supply and the roots have all this water, we won't have to worry about this. But we'll have it. It's a beautiful feature. If we ever need water, we'll have a store of water here. We'll have a store of water there. We'll have the big tank up here that we looked at. And of course, we're building another water tank, which is actually for drinking water, potable water, down below in the woods. That's where the water bubbles up out of the ground, and we're just creating a new, larger tank to replace the one we already had, so that we can store more and then pump it up from there to the buildings on the other side. From here, different vantage point, you can see, first of all, you can see these swales better, what we're doing here. And again, if you notice, these curve around, and that's because swales are built so that every point is at the same elevation. As the hillside naturally curves, so do the swales. If you look over here, you get a much better vantage point from the first swales. You can get a better look at what we're doing there and how they're shaping up. And you can see the curves there as well. That's because the hillside curves. Now on the other side, that field you see over there is not ours. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a path that goes up along the property line, but with a bunch of trees in there to block the view. So that hasn't happened yet, but probably next rainy season, we'll get that trail built during the dry season, and the rainy season we'll plant a whole line of trees so that in a few years we won't really see much of those houses or what's happening on the other side. We'll really feel like we're in our own little private space here. So imagine, if you can, how this is going to look in about 5 years when all these little saplings, which are anywhere from maybe 1 meter to maybe 1.5 meters, 2 meters tall, are all going to be 3-4 meters tall with a 2 to 3, maybe even 4 meter spread at that point. We're going to be in a little forest here, little opening here with the pond. We might wind up putting in a small swale right in here. We'll see. There'll certainly be some things planted here as well. Right, the road will be improved a bit. I mean, gravel, and it's going to head up that way to get to the other side. This will probably fill back in, maybe close off. We might even continue the swale across. I'm not sure. I think we'll probably keep a trail here. We'll see what happens. But you can see how it's shaping up, and we'll come back periodically so everyone can get a look at how things are shifting here. But pretty cool when you see it from this perspective.